Okay, for a long time now, Facebook has been criticised for not doing enough to combat misinformation. It's a massive job, of course, and almost impossible to fully avoid, but they're now making some pretty big changes. For more, I'm joined by our social media expert, Dr. Karen Sutherland. Welcome back to Ticker News. How are you?
Well, how are you today?
Yeah, good. So ahead of this week's House Energy and Commerce Committee investigation, it sounds like Facebook are putting out some new decisions, some new moves in terms of how to tackle this major problem of misinformation. What are you seeing that they're doing exactly?
Well, they actually put together a whole list of, I guess, results or efforts or results of their efforts that they've been trying to do. I think they really cracked down around, particularly after the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal a couple of years ago. But then again, when COVID hit, because of the misinformation and disinformation being spread. So some of the statistics they rattled off in this report are quite interesting. So they said that they've disabled more than 1.3 billion fake accounts since October. So that's a lot, and they've just been down networks where they're calling it coordinated inauthentic behaviour (CIB). So 100 networks they've actually shut down within. So these could be things like Facebook groups or just accounts working to increase that spread of misinformation. And they say they now have over 35,000 people have employed on the case to try and down the spread of fake news and misinformation.
Yeah, it's such a major issue. I suppose in many ways they definitely want to be seen to be doing something, and it sounds like this is a part of what they're doing. But really, they're never going to be able to truly get rid of all misinformation, right? But as long as we feel as though they're doing enough, we'll probably feel good about that. Is that how you think?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's really stacked against them because, I mean, there's like billions of people who use Facebook and they're producing content constantly. And so, yeah, there's so many more people creating the content and spreading it than they have to actually, the sort of efforts they have to actually try and curb it. I think as technology increases, it might get better in trying to actually spot it. But I think a lot of it also relies on self-reporting of users who flag particular posts too.
Right. So is that a big part of what they do? They rely on people to tell them what's going wrong in some ways.
I think that's one mechanism, yeah. So I think they're trying to be proactive as well. But then on the other side, you have those functions where you can report posts. And I think then they become actually reactive. And I think there's so many more of us using the platform. I'm sure you use it, Adrian. And, there are people at Facebook to try and do it. So I think trying to think of Facebook as a community and really using those mechanisms to help as well, rather than just ignoring. And we can do our part as well to help stop that spread.
Yeah, of course. Do you think it's just Facebook where we see this misinformation mainly? Are there any other social media apps out there or systems where this is also prevalent? Obviously, just on the internet itself, there can be a whole bunch of misinformation, but Facebook seems like it's the one, isn't it?
Oh well, I mean, it is everywhere. Honestly, like Twitter. Yeah. I mean. Bots, you have to be really careful with what you're interacting with, and sometimes when you think a hashtag is actually trending, it can actually be a bot sharing that information. So during the bushfires last year, there was that where it was spreading the false narrative that they were deliberately lit and all this sort of stuff, and it was just a bot actually sharing those tweets en masse. So it happened on Twitter. There's fake accounts and things happening on LinkedIn. Even TikTok, people spread misinformation on there. It's on every channel really, and it's just up to the platforms and us as users to try and flag that.
Just on the bots to finish, it's a really interesting one. I mean, I see, on Instagram, it just happens all the time underneath a post where it's just like hundreds of bots, just that automated response. Do you know what's being done in that sort of space? It just seems like it's getting worse in a way.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I know Instagram is really trying to curb that, and they've really cracked down on third-party applications entering and using that. So you used to be able to use, apps that would do likes en masse or follow. And there's certain apps where you can pick a hashtag, and every time that post with that hashtag comes up, it likes and comments on your behalf. But I think they're really trying to stop that sort of behaviour, because they really want authentic interaction, and that's what it's all about. But the technology on both sides, like Instagram's trying to be proactive and fix it, but then the technology on the other side's ramping up as well. So it's going to be a constant battle, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right though. That it is inauthentic. I mean, when I'm on there, I follow a lot of sports Instagram pages, American sports pages, and you just go on there and you just like every 10th comment is legitimate, but the rest are not, and it really affects the legitimacy and just the enjoyment of that time being on the platform, doesn't it?
Oh, totally. And even on platforms like LinkedIn, when you get these sort of canned messages in your inbox, like and then clearly they have no idea who you are, or they haven't even looked at your profile, but some sort of, maybe some keyword has tricked it off so that they will send you an automated message that it's completely irrelevant. So, it's happening. I think people try to automate it, but you can't automate human interaction. Like, that's what social media is all about, is that building of relationships, an authentic, genuine relationship.
Yeah, well, at least as we say at the top of the conversation here, Facebook is doing something about it. So we'll keep track of what they're up to. But yeah, the more the better, I reckon we would both agree. Hey, great to see you again. Thanks for your time and enjoy your day.
Thank you, you too.